film buffs? It's me again, Straight Shooter. Welcome to another episode of How I See It. I'm at Team Sound Studios, as I am always, and today's spoiler review will be of Ip Man 4, the finale. So yes, I have seen the first 3 Ip Man movies, and I've seen some of the ones that aren't canon as well, but this is still part of the main Ip Man series that they started with Donnie Yen. He was in the first 3, and he was in this one as well. It's another kung fu movie. Donnie Yen is really the only person in the movie that I know of, but there are some other characters like Bruce Lee. So yes, everyone knows that Ip Man is the kung fu master that trained Bruce Lee, but we haven't really seen him and Bruce Lee together outside of some flashbacks, maybe I think in the Bruce Lee movie that came out, the American version. So the premise of the story is basically that Ip Man has a son that he's trying to send to school in San Francisco, and he needs a letter of recommendation from the council, which is located in Chinatown, and he has to go get a letter of recommendation from them. They don't want to because of what Bruce Lee is doing. He opened a Wing Chun school in America, and there's conflict, and then all the while there's these American military type people who are against the Asians. And remember, this was like back in the 50s or 60s, when before the races were united and stuff like that, there was a lot of racial tension, and the military people fought karate, so there was karate versus kung fu. And the reason why he wants to send his son to the States is because he has cancer, he's terminal, and all that stuff, and he doesn't tell everyone right away, but this was his way to leave his legacy, not just in Bruce Lee, but in his son. He at first didn't want to teach his son martial arts because he didn't want his son to lead like the life of a kung fu master, which is you're always fighting. But he ended up teaching him and said, just film me once and you can study it. So he showed him all the moves against the practice dummy, and that's how his son ended up learning. That's basically the plot of the movie. At the end of the movie, he dies. He overcomes the military drill sergeant or general or whoever he was, who he challenged in a match. It was karate versus kung fu. Ip Man, the kung fu master, versus the general, the karate guy. Ip Man ends up winning, and that was his last fight. He died soon after. He returned to China, and everyone paid their respects. Bruce Lee paid his respects and everything. And besides Donnie Yen, who, by the way, is a great martial artist, and he's what makes the Ip Man movies very good, the guy that played Bruce Lee was pretty good too. And it's very hard to have someone play a good Bruce Lee and also have the martial arts skills that Bruce Lee did. And this guy, and I know he's an actor, but he did a lot of the moves that Bruce Lee did. He played a pretty good Bruce Lee. There was this scene where the American Karate Dojo was challenging the Kung Fu Dojo, and Bruce Lee basically steps in and kicks everyone's ass, and there's this one more fight with the head guy of the dojo, and it was a pretty good fight because he used a lot of his kicks, he used a lot of his speed, and yet ended up using nunchucks too, which is great to see. And Donnie Yen, not only did he have to fight the council in Chinatown, but he also had to fight the American karate students, the military. And they threatened everyone, the council, Ip Man, and they decided to unite against him. And in the end, the head guy of the council ended up saying, okay, this is long overdue. Here's a letter of recommendation. His son can go to the States. So then Ip Man goes back to China. That's the end of the movie, and then he dies. Let me start off by saying this. The movies Ip Man are more about the legend of Ip Man than they are the person Ip Man. And it really started after the first or second movie, where they started to show things that were a little probably not true, or definitely weren't true. What I know about Ip Man is that he may have traveled to San Francisco to see Bruce Lee perform or fight or something once, but he never made a trip to fight the council, to fight other people doing karate and all this stuff. So most of the movie was basically fantasy. But like I said, if you just look at it as a kung fu movie that's based on a real person, but more about what they represent rather than what they were, who they were, then it's an entertaining movie. And there might be some people that can't get past that will look at the movie and say, you know, that's not what happened. That's not what Ip Man did. But you got to understand. And apparently Chinese cinema isn't immune to this either. Based on a true story or based on real characters doesn't actually seldom translates to a true, accurate representation on screen of that story. It didn't bother me to the point where I said, screw this movie. This never happened, blah, blah, blah. It was entertaining. It was good to see Donnie Yen showing how good he is at his skill. It was good to see the guy playing Bruce Lee being able to show what Bruce Lee could do. And there was some ridiculousness, like the karate guys beating up the kung fu guys really easily. I don't think that's very realistic because kung fu is all about speed and karate is all about, well, it's supposed to be about defense, just like in Karate Kid. But they were able to defend and put a good offense to kung fu. And realistically, that shouldn't happen. Because if you're up against a kung fu master, karate is pretty laughable. Of course, you have to make the story interesting. So the general being able to put up a good fight against Ip Man made for a great final fight in the movie. So in that respect, I like the movie. Was it one of the best Ip Man movies? Probably not. Actually, definitely not. But I'm glad I saw it. I thought it was a good end cap to the series. And I thought it showed Ip Man respectfully, even though it wasn't accurate to the T of like what happened in his life. It was symbolic of what he represented in most people's minds, which is a great kung fu master that can overcome just about any enemy or any obstacle. And that's what he did in this movie. And he probably was able to do that in real life too. But a lot of the things didn't happen in real life in this movie. But that's okay, you know, because I'm not as attached to the history of Ip Man as I am to the legend of Ip Man. And this pays a good homage to the legend of Ip Man. Saying all that, I'll sum it up by saying I give the movie a B+. So yeah, entertaining, fun to watch, but not one of the best Ip Man movies. I think the best one is probably the second one, but I'll have to rewatch them to, and now that the fourth movie's out, when it comes out on video, I'll be able to watch all of them and decide. But that's how I see it. One and done today. It's January, so it's kind of a slow movie month. Not really much out that piques my interest. But when I heard about this coming out, I said, yeah, I definitely want to see that. The next movie I definitely plan to see is Birds of Prey. Until then, if I don't see you, then I'll see you then. But if I do see another movie before then, of course I'll be here as a nice little surprise. So like, subscribe, share, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you at the movies.